What's good, party people? It's your boy Tim back at it again with another vid today. And today, for the lesson plan, we talking about relationships. Now, all aspects of relationships, you know what I mean? Things like, actual like marriage and romantic love, but then also we got friendships, friendships, and then also uh, relationships having hold up, I got the point right here. Relationships having to do with like your general community, and then also like daily interactions, but then also, which is the most important relationship, your relationship with God, right? Uh, so well, first off, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, share with all your people so we could all have a good time. You at work, you at church, you feel me? Go ahead and let them know Tim posted today. So way I'm gonna have this vid is because it's a so as I was studying, as I was studying this, as I was looking over everything, as I was kind of um looking up the verses to use, coming up with the lesson plan. It's a lot of verses that I'm using, right? It's a lot of chapters I have to go to. It's a lot of verses, and I know if I keep the video running while going, trying to find these verses and chapters, it's probably gonna be, over, I would even say 20 minutes, over 20 minutes. So the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna just, instead of me just having the video go on as I'm looking these verses up, I'm gonna just cut the clip off. Look up the verse, read it, of course, just to know, just to, make sure that I have the verse, uh, and then from there, kind of decipher, So yeah. So mostly off the dome, because of course with the points, I was gonna have to, So yeah. Um, but yeah, like I said, we talking about relationships, and we gonna get it on and pop it. You feel me? Um, yeah. So with these specific ones I got for the marriage, or should I do friendships first? No, I would do marriage and romantic love first. So when I have the good thing about how I study is, or well, study and how I look up the verses. Since my memory is like really trash, I look up these verses on Google, uh, just so, or so what I do is like I do scriptures having to do with, and then like whatever subject I'm talking about, whether it's relationships. I did the same thing on patience, where I look up, like I'll do scriptures having to do with patience, scriptures having to do with relationships. And the crazy thing is, even when I'm not looking for like exact points to talk about, they end up giving it. They end up, letting me know. That's how I came up with. Because really, when I was thinking of relationships to speak on, I was just thinking of like, well, really two things, like actual like marriage and relationships, and then also, of course, relationships with God. But then they gave me friendships, but then also general community, also, also known as like, your neighborhood, or just like, you could be at the store, which is why they said daily interactions, also on the road, you know what I mean? So yeah, get it on popping, you feel me? Right now we on marriage and romantic love. I'm on 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 7, and I'm gonna try to move quickly as possible. So bet, cool. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start from 1, and then we'll end off. I'm gonna end off at 7. So bet, cool. We're gonna start from 1, and get to 7, right? So bet, cool. Starting from 1. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, meaning Meaning, if you do all these things, but you're boastful, or you just going around saying like, "Oh yeah, I helped that man out," you know what I mean? "Oh yeah, uh, 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 you know what I mean? I gave this dude some money one time, and yeah, I'm, like you're boastful. You know what I mean? You're what was the other word for it? You get what I'm saying though. Like, yeah. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy it. Um, it does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. So we're gonna end it right there. We're gonna end the verses right there, and I'm gonna just kind of briefly explain what I'm talking about, or what this is talking about. So, if I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal, right? So basically, or I'll keep reading. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and of all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. Meaning, whatever type of mission you own, you know what I mean? Like I said, with the ministries, or even with like, which is crazy because when I read this, I was thinking about relationships, but then also I kind of read this specific part and was like, yeah, this could be talking about relationships, but this could also be talking about whatever you're doing in life, like your passion, your whatever ministry you in church, right? If you don't do it, if whatever you doing, even if you putting 100% in, if you ain't doing it with love, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's pointless. You know what I mean? Uh, like it says, if I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast. Like I said, if you just doing these things just to talk about it with other people, like if you just doing all these things, if you helping the homeless out, you know what I mean? If you're, you know, heavily, or if you're in ministries in church, you know what I mean? If you're doing all of this just to boast, just to, you know what I mean, then there's no point. If you're not doing it with love, ain't no point in doing it. You just it's pointless, right? You know what I mean? So yeah. So with anything, not just so with anything, not just relationships. With this specific point, if you don't do that, if you don't do any of these things with love, you know what I mean, ain't no point. You know. I'm telling you, moving around a lot. You know, but yeah, so I'm gonna keep reading. I already talked about the boasting part. Love is patient. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love is patient with anything, with starting a relationship, with being in the relationship, with committing to marriage, maintaining the marriage. You feel me? Patient. Love is kind. Yeah, like I said before, this could be used for pretty much everything, not just with relationships. Love is kind. It does not envy. It's not jealous. You know what I mean? It's not, dang. How can I? It's not jealous. It's not, you know what I mean? It does not boast. It is not proud. Same thing, you know what I mean? It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, meaning like not selfish, you know what I mean? Not, not selfish, not, you know, yeah. It is not easily angered. It's not easily angered. You know what I mean? When you're mainly for like communities, and then mainly for like in real life, when you're out, and like I said, which is why this correlates well with like your communities, and then also daily interactions too, because it is not easily angered. With all of these points, they're basically saying with love, you should not be feeling these things. You should not be, you know what I mean, So if you just out grocery shopping, or no, matter of fact, better point, if you out driving and you in traffic and somebody cuts you off, you should not end that interaction with cussing them out or getting out the car, you know what I mean, uh getting out the car and getting physical. Like, nah, bro. You should be like, all right, bet, cool. Maybe they're having a bad day. I'm not saying, well, yeah, turn the other cheek, basically. You know what I mean? Just, let that go. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, just let them be. Because I'm pretty sure the whole situation going to be worse by you escalating it. You feel me? So, yeah. But then also, it easily is not angered in relationships because, like, you know what I mean? You with somebody and they end up, or you with somebody and it's like, it's not easily angered, so it's not like how can I explain this? Like like I said, easily angered. You don't want to be, you're not easily provoked, right? You're not easily provoked by things they say, by things that they do, or, you know what I mean? So yeah, bet. It keeps no record of wrongs. You are not dwelling on any of the wrongs that your spouse or that your or same thing, spouse, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, you know what I mean? You are not, it keeps no record of wrongs. You are not dwelling on what wrongs they have possibly done. You know what I mean? So this shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, whether it's like a week ago or whether it's like years ago, you should not be dwelling on the wrongs that he's had. Because once again, this kind of goes back to the not being easily angered, right? So if you don't keep no record of wrongs, right? If you don't dwell on the wrongs that person has done, you shouldn't be easily angered by the things. Like I said, if you keep no record of it, there's no reason why you should be provoked in whatever situation you might be in. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Factual. When I read this, I kind of see this as like, okay, so love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It's not like, how can I say this? So yeah, it don't delight in evil. So like if you're out, or if you're going into a relationship with the wrong intentions, right? Or if you're already in a relationship with the wrong intentions, right? That's, kind of, what I mean? But rejoices with the truth. Another way I kind of see it, or another way that I can say it is like, what's done in the dark will find it. Oh my God, I keep messing that up. What's done in the dark will find its way to light. So if you doing wrong, if you're, if you starting it, or if you in it and you doing, you feel me, it's going to come to light. And that's basically what it's saying, but rejoices with the truth. So if you don't, you feel me, like, so yeah, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So whether you in whatever type of situation you in, let's just say, like, think of a scenario like you in a relationship and you both in that relationship are, matter of fact, this, I don't even have to use them other scriptures. I'll just keep, that's crazy. But yeah, thank you God. But yeah, so I'm gonna read it again. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So yeah, in any type of situation that you might be in, right? Like I said, an example, both of y'all have dreams and aspirations. Y'all are very ambitious. Y'all are both moving towards y'all's y'all's dreams, y'all's, wherever y'all want to be in the end, right? Let's just say y'all hit kind of like a roadblock, or one of y'all hit a roadblock, right? Let's just say one of them like loses a job or something like that. And so when it says it always protects, it always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres throughout any situation, including that one, you kind of want to be there for, even in other situations, like I said, when it says, it keeps no records of wrongs, right? So like when it says always perseveres, always protects, always trusts, always hopes, like I said, you don't want to keep that because, love should be that always, Love should be that it always protecting, always trusting, always hoping, always persevering, right? So you shouldn't have, like, these things should not be dwelling in your soul. If you have that, you know what I mean? If you have that, you know what I mean? And then 8, which is crazy because I didn't even see this at first. It says love never fails. Facts, you know what I mean? Facts, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the clip off and we're gonna get to the next point. I'm not even gonna include, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna include when it comes to marriage and romantic love. I'm not gonna include the rest of these verses just because everything that I was thinking of when it comes to like marriage and romantic love kind of came with these verses that I was thinking of. So yeah, we just gonna move right along the friendships. I'm gonna cut the clip off. Bet. All right, we back. Now we talking about friendships, right? Um, Once again, I got 2 specific verses in the same chapter, but I think what I'm gonna do, or in the same book, not chapter, I'm gonna just, well, we'll see. So bet, cool. So we're going over friendships, right? We are in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17, right? We're gonna move it along. Bet, cool. So starting from 17, ending on 17, we got, wait, bet, cool. So a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time in adversity, right? And right before I start speaking on it, I defined adversity also, because I knew of the word, but I didn't quite know like the actual definition of it. So, bet, cool. So adversity refers to a state of continued difficulty, misfortune, or hardship. It describes challenging circumstances, bad luck, or obstacles that make it difficult to achieve your goals. The term highlights an ongoing struggle rather than a one-time minor inconvenience, right? So bet, when it says a friend loves at all times and a brother is born for a time of adversity, right? It basically is like, so you got a friend, right? If you call, matter of fact, if you call somebody your friend, you should yeah, they love at all times, but you should automatically know throughout any type of situation, or you should automatically be on the timing of whatever situation that you are in times of adversity, like it's saying, you know what I mean? You should be there. You should be there to, you know what I mean? You should be there to support them. You should be there to care for them. You should be there to what's another word? You should be there by their side. They ride or die, like people say a lot of times, right? So, and a brother is born for a time of adversity, right? So yeah, you know what I mean? You call whoever you with your friend. You call whoever you're with your brother. You call, you know what I mean? They gotta be on that timing. So if you calling that person your friend, you gotta be on that type of timing. You feel me? And yeah, that's basically, what that is saying. It loves at all times, right? Even if it doesn't benefit you. A lot of time, matter of fact, I can speak on this with experiences that I've had in my life with friends back then. You feel me? Like, you know, it when it says, oh, I went to the wrong. Okay, bad, cool. So yeah, when it says a friend loves at all times, you know, even in times of adversity, right? So it's like with friends back in the day that wouldn't, you know what I mean? Yeah, you call me your friend. Yeah, you know, most of the time you're on that, or not most of the time, but sometimes you're on that type of timing. But in times of adversity, you're gone. You're gone. I don't see, you're not by my side. You're not, you know, in my corner with me. I'm fighting this thing alone. And it's like, you know what I mean? Crazy, you know? But yeah. Matter of fact, I am going to include this next verse, so I'm going to just cut the clip off real quick and I'll come back. Once again, we back. I'm including this part into the vid, or these verses into the vid, to kind of speak on this too. This kind of elaborated a little bit, or this kind of broke down what I was speaking of on the last clip. So we on Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6 through, is this 10? 10, right? Cool. So bet we on starting from 6. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. One who is full loathes honey from the comb, but to the hungry, even what is bitter tastes sweet. Like a bird that flees its nest is anyone who flees from home. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. 10. Do not forsake your friend or a friend of your family. Do not go to your relative's house when disaster strikes you. Better a neighbor nearby than a relative far away, right? So, which is crazy. I kind of like reading the Bible on my in my alone time because of the fact that what I'm paraphrasing, what I'm telling y'all most of the time to kind of make it more clear, sometimes you can kind of see it for yourself, and it's kind of like a poem sometimes, you know what I mean? Like the way things are said is kind of like, yo, like, that's crazy that they put it that way, right? And I'm a bet cool. So wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Basically, what it's saying is, even if you have like a falling out with your friend, even if it's like if you're in a situation to where you're not speaking or on speaking terms with your friend, even in situations to where y'all, like I said, y'all not, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses, right? So you could really have either or, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, how can I explain this? Okay. But an enemy multiplies kisses. So it's kind of like, dang. And I left my water downstairs. That's crazy. But no, that's all good. So yeah, you know what I mean? That shouldn't, or you shouldn't automatically be on the time enough. All right, bet I'm cutting this friendship off. I'm not talking to you no more. You know what I mean? You're not in my corner no more. You're not my ride or die no more. You know what I mean? So even if there's a falling out, like I said, with like I said, with relationships, like actual, like, boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, or no, that was the following one: in times of adversity. In other words, like even in a situation to where it's two friends falling out with each other, that should not be the end all be all. You should kind of, what I mean, feel me? So bet cool. 7. One who is full loathes honey from the comb, but to the hungry, even what is bitter tastes sweet. Like a bird that flees its nest is anyone who flees from home. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Confide in your friend, right? Confide in your friend, vent to your friend. Uh, 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 dang. You know what I mean? You're going through something, and you're the type of person to, like me, I'm not gonna lie to you. When you're going through something and you got a friend that's in your corner, that's your ride or die, that's, you know what I mean, that's always there for you, always caring for you, always is with you to the end, right? Confide in them. And if you don't, you already know. You can come to Jesus, whatever you got, whatever you got going on. Like I said, you hear a lot of times, Jesus is my friend to the end. That's factual. So if you don't have, like, somebody in your corner, like here in your corner, feel me? You know what I mean? But even then, but that, you get what I'm saying though. Like, if you have that friend that's on that type of timing, you feel me? Confide in them. You know what I mean? That's what it means when it says, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Jesus, I keep resting. But yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? But also, do not forsake your friend or a friend of your family, and do not go to your relative's house when disaster strikes you. Better a neighbor nearby than a relative far away. Factual, you know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut the clip off again, and we're gonna get into general, community, and daily interactions a bit. All right, back again. So we now are talking about general community, also known as like, your neighborhood or, wherever you live, and then also daily interactions, right? So we coming from Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Uh, really chapter 9 through 10. So yeah, I mean, verse 9 through 10. So yeah, we're going to get it back cool. So love, starting from 9, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. 10, be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourselves, right? Even if you have no type of, even if you have no, like, what can I say? Like, you're not their friend, you're not any type of family, you're right. And that's why it says like daily interactions, right? Oh, wait. Verse 13 says, share with the Lord's people who are in need, practice hospitality, right? Even if you have no type of acquaintance with the person that you interacting with, right? You want to go into any situation with that person with love, right? So like I said, in church, you have people who greet, people who people who are there to welcome you into the church, right? You got ushers, right? People who are there to take you to your seat or to help you to your seat. If you're somebody who is not is disabled, they're one of the main ones helping out if there isn't anybody there already, right? You know what I mean? What people are saying, like the preacher, people in the choir, you know, ministers, deacons, or that's the same thing. But yeah, all of that. Be devoted to one another in love, right? Honor one another above yourselves. You would want, you kind of want to be on that type of time, and even if it's not in a church setting, right? So like I'm trying to think of an example where that could be like, okay, bet, cool. So you about to go into the store, right? And it's somebody right behind you, walking like right behind you to go into the store also. Hold the door open for that person, let them in, and then go in with you. Okay, bet, cool. It's like, what other situation could I think of? Okay, bet, cool, right? So it's like, you're in a situation where like okay, we'll just use church for example. Cool, bet. So you're in church, right? And it's packed. People can't find seats, and you so happen to be in one of the pews or in one of the chairs. You see, let's just say like an elderly man or an elderly woman, right? And in your mind, like, bruh, they not gonna be able to stand for this whole service, but you can, right? Be that person to get up and give your seat up, so they can sit down for the duration of that service, because that you could sit, that you could stand up and you could, be cool, but they can't, or it's harder for them, right? So you kind of want to, in any type of situation, you kind of want to honor one another above yourselves, right? Which is, yeah. And then 13, which is what I wasn't even going to include in this, but I just read it right now. Share with the Lord's people who are in need, practice hospitality. That's basically what I was just saying. Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna cut the clip off, check out these other verses, and we'll bet. Cool. All right, we are back once again talking about relationships with your general community and also daily interactions, right? So this is the book of Ephesians chapter 4 verse 32, and it's only just this verse because I read this and I was kind of like, yeah. So this is basically kind of adding on to what I was saying before, right? So 32, it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. So like the same way that you fall short, let's just say, keep it that, the same way that you fall short, and you can go to the altar and ask God for forgiveness. It's the same way or the same type of timing that you should be on in your general community or in daily interactions, daily life, basically. You know what I mean? You want to be on that same type of timing, right? So, which is crazy because verse 31 says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and passionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you." So basically, when you hear the term turn the other cheek, that's what that means, right? You want to be forgiving, you want to be compassionate, you want to be loving toward other people. So, you know what I mean? You reap what you sow. So if you give out this energy, if you give out this loving energy, if you give out basically the opposite of of verse 31, you will get that back. You will have people, or you will have more people confide in you. You will have more people, you know, having you in their corner, you know what I mean? And so and so, right? I'm gonna leave it at that when it comes to, so I didn't really need to include all of these verses, but so I'm gonna cut the clip off again. And this next and final one, we are talking about your relationship with God. All right, back again, and this time we are talking about your relationship with God, right? We are in the book of John, chapter 15, verse 1 through 6. We'll do 6. At first it was just 5, but nah, it's just 1 through 6 now that I'm reading more of it. So we're gonna start, and then so crazy thing is, this is all red lettering, and usually what it means by that is this is actually like Jesus talking whenever he was, I forgot what specific situation that he was in, or not situation, but setting that he was in, but he was actually dang, I just read, anyways, we'll just, yeah, so bet, cool. Starting from one, right? I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. Which is crazy. But yeah. That yeah, which is crazy now that I'm reading this. So like I said, back to that time that I was on earlier in the vid, sometimes when you be reading the Bible, it's crazy because it's like some of these things sound so poetic, but you kind of know, you know what they talking about, but it's kind of like the way that they say some of these things, the way that they write some of these things, it's like, yo, like I did not, the way you spoke that point, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But yeah, so I am the true vine. Oh wait, I'll just go from 5 then. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing, right? So what this means when it comes to having a relationship with God, you want to always have a relationship with God, because of the fact that if not, you're nothing, right? So the same way with the vine, when the branch is connected to the vine, it's gonna bear fruit. Basically, if you're still connected to the vine, you will bear fruit. What do I mean by fruit? You will, dang, I had it in my head, then I went blank. Okay, yeah. So what happens when you bear fruit? You're like I said, like how I'm doing now. I won't use me. We'll use like somebody who's in ministry in church, right? So like if you stay connected to God, which is the vine, right? Or, yeah. No. Well, same thing. Let me not get too political. But yeah, if you stay with God, if you stay connected with God and you bear fruit, basically what that means is like, let's just say you're a preacher, right? You're staying connected to God and you're talking to these people, you're preaching to these people. What it means by bearing fruit is maybe as you're preaching or after you preach, you have somebody that comes to the altar, gives their life to Christ, and if that's that's basically bearing fruit. Or it could be like you're somebody who is in the ministry of evangelizing, basically like going out and talking to people, getting them to come to the altar and give their life to Christ, right? Bearing fruit is like having somebody actually agree and be like, okay, bet, cool, I'm on that type of time, and I want to I want to give my life to Christ, right? So staying connected to the vine, you as the branch will bear, you feel me, fruit. So yeah. But if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. The branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned, right? So yeah. I'm gonna cut the clip off and go to this next verse, see if I need to include it. I probably will, but yeah. Bet we back again talking about relationships with God, and we are on the last few verses, and this is kind of adding on, or these verses are kind of adding on. So we are in the book of Revelations, chapter 3, verse, I'm gonna do 19 all the way to the end of the chapter, which is 22. Or yeah, chapter which is 22. Bet, cool. So we're gonna go from 19. Those who I love, I rebuke and discipline. So be earnest and repent. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat down with my Father on his throne. Whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches, right? So, basically, he's always there, right? This is basically saying, like, I'm always there. In what I mean, so like, remember when I had said, I don't remember which specific video I said this, but when I was going through my anxious phase, right? Before all of that happened, I was running. What do I mean by that? I wouldn't say running, but I was avoiding, right? So like, yeah, I was always in the setting of church. I was singing with my brothers and my mom, ministering to people. I was always in church, but I wasn't actively seeking out a relationship with God, right? So basically what verse 20 is saying is, here I am. I stand at the door and I knock. I'm here whole time knocking, waiting for you to let me in, right? Basically what it's saying is like, I'm always going to be here, right? Not me, but God, I'm always going to be here, bro. You have the choice to, to let me in. Basically what I was saying about the bearing fruit, people actually coming to the altar and giving their life to Christ, right? Like he's saying, I'm always here. Whole time you have the choice to open the door, basically, is what he's saying. Here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me, right? Same type of time that it was on when, it was saying like, I'm the vine and you're the branches. I'm here, you let me in and I'm gonna eat with you, you eat with me, right? It's gonna be, yeah. To the one who is victorious, I will give the right to sit with me on my throne. Basically the same type of time that it was on with the vines and the branch, right? Let me in and these things will, these things will happen. Good things will happen, And yeah, so that was relationships as far as marriages and romantic love. That was relationships as far as your general community and daily interactions, and that was relationships having to do with your relationship with God, right? Or building that relation, or starting and building that relationship with God, right? I'm gonna go ahead and end it off right there. Hopefully I made it a little bit more clear with what the book is saying, or yeah, the book is saying. Um, and yeah, you know what I mean. Read it for yourself, most def. Read these verses for yourself, and kind of interpret it in your own way as well. And yeah, if there's something that y'all need help with as far as like how to apply these things in life, um, that you read you know, that you, if there's something that you're reading in the Bible that you kind of need more clarity on, just let me know. And yeah, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Enjoy the rest of this day. Y'all make sure y'all do too. Peace.